A young family moves into an old home and soon discovers they are not alone.
Oh!
I felt a very strong presence. Something was in the house.
At first, they suspect innocent ghost children.
Those kids, they died in that house.
But then a much darker force attacks.
Couldn't breathe. Somebody's really trying to suffocate me. I felt like I was fighting for my life.
Can the family escape before it's too late? In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality. Nestled along the southern tip of the Appalachian Trail, Hampton, Tennessee, is the kind of place hikers tend to pass through.
Hampton's very small, very country. Mountains, lakes, woods, and that's it.
They have a grocery store down the street. It's really like a small town.
In October 2011, Amelia and Calvin Brady move into an apartment in a spacious old home in Hampton with their daughters, 5-year-old Sarah and 1-year-old Chelsea.
It was an older house, built back in like the 1800s. The place was huge.
What do you think?
It's so big.
It was very cheap, so we kind of just jumped on it.
It was in a secluded area. It was quiet. The kids had yard space to play in. It was a perfect home for the kids.
Calvin works maintenance at a nearby restaurant, while Amelia is a stay-at-home mom.
I was really ready to start a family, especially when I met her. I don't know what it was. It was just something drew me to her.
He was very caring. He kind of reminded me of my Prince Charming. We formed a family very quick.
Come on, Sarah.
Inside, the apartment matches the couple's idea of their perfect dream house.
It was a 3-bedroom apartment, and that's what we needed at the time. It had space for the kids to run back and forth in the house and everything.
I always loved vintage homes, so I thought it was beautiful. When we first walked in, it was perfect. Like, everything matched exactly what we needed.
The apartment is located on the 2nd floor of the old house and includes a porch. And while it's a nice feature to have, it also poses a risk.
Honey, you are not to come out here by yourself. Do you understand? Come on. Sarah was just out there by herself. It's a nice apartment, but is it safe for the children?
Look, the door has 2 locks. Here and up here. The only way out there is if one of us unlocks it, okay?
And I was like, okay, this can work because I can keep that locked. She cannot reach it, not even with a chair.
While they've solved the problem at hand, there's no way they could guess what nightmares await their family.
Oh!
The century-old house harbors many sad secrets of tragic deaths and an unspeakable atrocity.
Here you go, Mama.
And it's not long before Amelia senses there are spirits around them who have yet to rest in peace.
After a few days of being in the house, it started to have a heavy feeling. Like we had moved in on top of somebody that did not want us there. Like we was in somebody else's home. I just kind of blew it off. We wasn't used to the house at all. So we just kind of thought, you know, we're gonna get used to it. It'll go away. It did not go away. Both of my kids was laid down for a nap. So I thought my husband was home.
Calvin? Calvin? Calvin?
There was nobody there. I figured, you know, it's an old house. Could be animals that was in the chimney or the walls cracking. I didn't know.
Several more days pass, and Amelia can't shake the feeling that somehow they are not alone.
Mommy, Mommy.
I heard a little voice, and I felt a tug on my shirt.
Yes, Sarah.
Amelia hears the same voice again, this time more insistent.
Mommy, Mommy, Mommy.
Sarah? Did you call me?
No, Mommy.
I know that I heard a little child call me Mommy.
What is it?
Random creaks and knocks in an old house is one thing, but a child's voice is harder to explain.
Nothing. Dinner will be ready in 15 minutes.
The baby.
Could the little girl's voice Amelia heard be trying to warn her? In 2011, the Brady family moves into the top-floor apartment of an early 19th century house located in the small town of Hampton, Tennessee.
Say thank you, Mama. Thank you.
For the young couple, the huge apartment at an affordable rent seems too good to be true.
Are you gonna help us clean up? You helping us clean up?
It was roomy, had room for each and every one of the kids.
The space was terrific. The rooms were just the right size.
But just days after moving in, Amelia begins hearing sounds. And voices she can't explain.
Mommy, Mommy.
Yes, Sarah.
Mommy, Mommy, Mommy.
There was just something about that room that did not feel right. I didn't know what at the time.
And then, one afternoon, Amelia gets the scare of a lifetime.
I just turned the corner, there she was, and there was the heater.
The baseboard heater appears to have been ripped off the wall.
I know for a fact Sarah was not strong enough to forcefully pull that heater off the wall. There was no way. None whatsoever.
By the time the firefighters arrive, Calvin has managed to put out the sparks. Luckily, the damage is minimal and no one is hurt.
I mean, it seemed to be sparking all around, like here and here.
It's a good thing you had that fire extinguisher. It could have been bad, real bad.
I was concerned about the safety of the kids. That's what I was concerned about. Because if that would have started a fire, we'd have been rushing to get out of there.
Amelia notices one firefighter appears strangely uncomfortable, as if she knows something.
Is everything okay?
Let me ask you something. How much history do you know about this place?
I don't know. We just moved in a week ago.
She said, "You don't know what happened here." And I said, "No."
About 10 years earlier, a young mother lived in the apartment with her 3 young children.
One day she had a cigarette in her hand and she nodded out. The cigarette caught the couch on fire and the rest of the house. The mother, her 3 kids, they died in that house.
2 of the children were found in a back bedroom, and the 3rd in a closet.
I probably felt every emotion. I was sad. I felt bad for the kids to hear what they went through.
Yeah, it really is tragic. You get to thinking, like, that could have been, it couldn't happen to us.
Several days pass, and the Brady family tries to put the strange events behind them. They repair the girls' bedroom so it's as good as new. But Amelia can't get the story of the fire and the victims out of her head.
It was weird to just think something like that happened in a place that, you know, we're trying to make a home. We didn't feel right about the place then, after we found that out.
A few days later, Amelia hears Sarah talking to someone in her bedroom.
Let me get the baby. I'm not getting the baby. She's like big for me. These are my dolls, see? You can play with them if you like.
At first, Amelia is not concerned.
She had just moved away from some of her friends. I figured she was, you know, coming up with an invisible friend.
But suddenly, Sarah's playmate doesn't appear to be so friendly.
Leave me alone. Quit it.
Her voice changed, like she was getting upset. Stop. Go away.
Sweetie, is everything okay?
Mom, tell them to leave me alone.
Tell who to leave you alone?
The kids.
What kids?
The kids that come out of the closet.
Just days after the Brady family moves into an apartment in Hampton, Tennessee, they discover the tragic history of their new home.
There was a house fire there. A mother and 3 kids had passed from the fire in that apartment.
Then Sarah, their 5-year-old, starts having conversations with imaginary friends.
No, leave me alone.
Is everything okay?
Mom, tell them to leave me alone.
Tell who to leave you alone?
The kids.
What kids?
The kids that come out of the closet.
That just sent chills all over, because I believe kids sense things.
Amelia suspects Sarah's new friends might be the ghosts of the children whose spirits are not at rest.
My first thought was, it was those kids that had died in the fire.
Suddenly, for Amelia, the strange occurrences and mysterious voices in her new home make sense.
Mommy.
Yes, Sarah.
I was starting to come to terms that we were not alone. I felt a very strong presence. Something was in the house. I've always been a very firm believer of paranormal. I've always believed that there was something out there that we couldn't see.
Later that night, Amelia tells Calvin she believes their apartment is haunted.
Honey, I know this sounds crazy, but this house has a pretty tragic history. It just makes sense to me that the spirits of this poor family is still here.
Look, I understand that you're upset about the children who died here, but there are no ghosts here, or anywhere else for that matter.
I was a skeptic on ghosts and the paranormal. I really didn't think it existed. I didn't believe in ghosts at all.
He wasn't a believer. He kept making excuses.
It's gonna be all right.
The next day, Calvin's hard stance is put to the test.
Hey, Amelia, I'm home. Amelia? Amelia? Amelia?
The figure was more of a male's figure, and it was just real dark. And then it was gone.
For the first time in his life, Calvin is faced with the possibility that the paranormal is real.
When I seen the shadow figure, that's what let me know that the apartment was haunted. I was terrified. I didn't tell Amelia because I didn't want to get her more startled or scared.
But the spirits may not be as considerate. Several nights later, for more haunting, visit destinationamerica.com. For the past several weeks, the Brady family has been experiencing paranormal activity in their home in Hampton, Tennessee. After hearing stories about a tragic fire that took the lives of a mother and her 3 children, Amelia believes her daughter Sarah has made friends with the ghosts of the deceased children.
These are my dolls. You can play with them if you like.
I started to think that the house was haunted with kids because my oldest started talking and playing with stuff that wasn't there. She's actually talking like somebody is actually in there with her, and there's not. There's children, ghosts in here. It was those kids that had died in the fire. There was no covering it up or denying it or anything. The more that we kept pretending like it wasn't, the worse it got.
The couple soon finds that something far darker than ghost children lurks in the house.
When I came out of the nightmare, I felt like I was fighting for air. Couldn't breathe. It was something sitting on me. It was like a massive pressure on my chest, to where somebody was really trying to suffocate me. I felt like I was fighting for my life.
Calvin? Calvin?
He couldn't talk, and you could see that he was just like struggling to get air.
It's okay. It stopped.
What's going on? What happened?
I believe you. This house is haunted. But I don't think it was a child that did this. There's something else here.
I was terrified. For me, my husband, my kids. I didn't know what that spirit was capable of.
Calvin is also afraid, not for himself, but for his family.
If I'm fighting for my life and something happens to me, that just leaves them abandoned and nobody there to help take care of them.
In the days that follow, the stress of the haunting wears the family down.
We both felt powerless. We can't fight something that we can't see. I mean, it sees, hears, watches us, but we cannot see or hear it. We didn't know what to do.
Amelia feels trapped with no means of escape.
She was wanting to move, and I was telling her that we had the lease for a year.
They have few options.
We had no family or friends for us to live with at the time. We were tied to that house financially. I mean, there was no way we could afford to move right then and there. We just couldn't do it.
Soon after, Amelia thinks she has some alone time.
Most of the girls were asleep, and that was the only time that I was able to take a shower.
Suddenly, Amelia gets a terrifying message clear as day from beyond.
It was written perfectly in the steam. My kids were asleep, nobody was in the house. I knew exactly what it was. It was whatever was in that house.
Amelia is horrified. The house is haunted by an entity far worse than the children who died in the fire. And now it's after her.
I knew that wasn't the child ghost. I knew that there were more than the children in that house. There's something bad here. And whatever it is, it wants us either hurt or dead.
The family decides to go into protection mode and make sure no one is ever alone in any room of the apartment.
We started sleeping in the living room from then on.
And I kept an eye on them through the night.
Later that night, all is quiet, or so it seems. Within a month of moving into their Hampton, Tennessee apartment, Calvin and Amelia Brady must fend off the attacks of a dark, malevolent force.
After I seen the shadow figure, that's when things started happening to me. I was fighting for Errol. I was fighting for my life.
Its motives are unknown, but its message is clear.
I knew as soon as I seen that, we were in complete danger. I just felt the evil.
Then one night, Amelia sees it too.
It was very dark, very thick. You couldn't see through it. It was like a very strong mist.
Calvin! Calvin!
What is it?
Calvin! It was awful!
Amelia and Calvin have now both seen the face of evil. With nowhere else to turn, Amelia contacts Paranormal Technology Investigations in nearby Jonesboro, Tennessee.
When she started telling me the claims of her activity, they were pretty believable. Yeah, in my mind, I was pretty positive that they had a haunting, but I wasn't for sure what level of haunting they had yet.
It just finally felt good to talk to somebody, or somebody to say, okay, we're gonna come help. I mean, just those few words just relieved me.
A few days later,
Thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
You have no idea what this means to us.
Well, our team is going to sit right up if you don't mind.
Rob Phillips and his business partner, Kathy Shepard, arrived to conduct an investigation.
You can feel the heaviness as soon as we walked in. You could just feel there wasn't something right in the home. We knew there was something there.
We did some investigating into this house, and we found something very interesting.
Kathy begins by informing the Bradys that the home's dark history started well before the fire killed the young family.
The house was built in the 1800s. It was someone's home. Sometime in the 1920s, it was turned into a halfway house for male prisoners. Around the 1920s, Prohibition, there was a lot of moonshine in the area. With the evidence we have now, we believe that when it was a halfway house, there might have been a lot of criminal activities going on there.
When it was a halfway house, there was a man shot and killed at the home. Negative energy can definitely stir up paranormal activity.
The investigators begin by trying to make contact with the spirits.
We use digital voice recorders for capturing electronic voice phenomenon, also known as EVP.
If there's anyone here that wants to communicate, can you please give us a sign? Did you die in this house? Was there a fire? Can you tell me your name?
We concluded that there was 3 children in the home. Their spirits were still there. We got different voices in a recorder. A lady's voice, which we believe was the mother. We felt a tragedy like this would bring on a lot of paranormal activity.
Can you tell us your name? Do you live here?
Suddenly, Amelia comes under attack.
I felt a burning sensation on my back.
My back is burning!
Can I look?
Oh my God.
I had 3 scratch marks going from my shoulder down. I knew I had made something mad.
Investigators now believe they are dealing with a demonic entity.
The demonic will leave 3 scratches, they'll knock in 3s, everything they do is in 3, and that's a way for them to mimic the Trinity, which is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
And the demonic entity is holding the other spirits hostage.
The spirits were still in the home. They were trapped. They couldn't get out.
The investigative team performs a cleansing and a crossover ritual to rid the house of the evil entity and help usher the lost souls to the hereafter.
Everything was more bright, it smelled cleaner, it felt lighter.
For a while, it appears that the Brady family can resume a normal life in their home.
Go, Chelsea. Yeah, good job. Very good. You're such a big girl. Yeah, keep going. You're such a big girl.
Mom, can I get something to eat?
Just a minute.
Mom.
I just had a feeling, and when I looked at the door, I seen her out there on the balcony.
Chelsea!
I panicked. I immediately panicked.
Chelsea? Chelsea!
It is 2011.
Leave me alone.
The Brady family has been experiencing paranormal activity in their Hampton, Tennessee apartment. The haunting has quickly escalated, and a demonic entity is threatening the family.
I think something was trying to hurt the families that was living in these apartments. I believe it was the demonic that was already there when they moved in.
They can physically hurt you.
My back is burning!
They can do damage. They can tear your family apart.
After a paranormal investigation,
If there's anyone here that wants to communicate, can you please give us a sign?
the Brady family hoped their apartment was clear of all entities. But the evil has returned,
Chelsea!
and a young life is in its grasp.
Chelsea!
There was no way. She unlocked the door, opened it, and locked it back. I knew that whatever was in that house did it. I knew whatever was in that house put her on that balcony and locked her out. The door wouldn't open. It was like somebody had it on the other side. And then it finally just let loose.
Oh my God, Chelsea. Oh my God. Are you okay?
The bars on my balcony, she could have fit through. And if she would have fit through them, she would have fell to her death.
Come on, we're leaving now.
okay, that's it. I was done.
It appears the evil entity inside the apartment was not expelled as investigators had hoped.
We felt, being that this was an apartment complex, that the demon went somewhere and hid inside of another unit.
When Amelia called me, I advised her that they needed to just move. We needed to get them out as soon as possible.
I didn't care about my lease. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about nothing. I have to protect my children.
One of the paranormal investigators volunteers to let them stay with her while they search for a new home. With their children safe with their grandmother, Amelia and Calvin quickly pack and move out of the apartment.
Is that everything we need right now?
I think so.
Doors shutting, slamming, windows opening and closing. It freaked me out real bad.
Whoa! Whoa! The house is trying to trap us. Come on, get out! Go now, run! Run! Go! Run!
I felt like I was a prisoner that had just broke free. Like I was chasing and running for freedom. And I was gonna grab it and go.
Come on, let's go. Come on. You get in the car. Come on, Amelia.
If we wouldn't have got out at that time, something else probably would have happened and it probably would have been worse. I was beyond done.
Drive, go, go!
The Bradys later discover that their landlord knew their apartment had a tragic past.
He laughed and said that by law, he don't have to tell me anything unless we are actually buying the home.
A little over a month later, the Bradys move into a new home in another town. To this day, they have never returned to the Hampton apartment.
We don't go near that house. We don't go near the property. We don't go nowhere near that area.
Life's pretty good, actually. We're not stressful. We're not worrying about anything. I still look over my shoulder every now and then just to make sure. I just try and take it day by day.
In some weird way, I think that house is what kind of made us stronger. It made our relationship stronger. It still lingers. I don't think I'll ever put that whole experience behind me. I still don't sleep in the dark. I don't walk in the dark. I don't know if I ever will again.
A family of 5 moves into their dream house in the country.
Everybody had their own bedroom.
It felt safe.
And soon encounters paranormal activity. What begins with footsteps and imaginary friends
Something was there.
escalates into something so evil
I saw her laying in a puddle of blood and I thought she was dead.
and so powerful it may never be tamed.
Cast into hell all the evil spirits. Amen.
In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality. Brookville, Ohio is a farming community on the outskirts of Dayton. It's one of those everyone knows your business sort of places. Settled in 1850, Brookville sprung up from nowhere along newly laid railroads built to connect larger cities.
I grew up in the country. It was safe, fun, big yards, close-knit community, and that's what I wanted for my children.
Hey, come on, let's get in here. Get in there, little tiger.
In the fall of 2008, Alicia Kane and her husband, Scott,
We got quite a haul.
moved their family from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, to rural Brookville.
When we saw this house, we knew that it was going to be perfect.
Everything kind of reminded us of where we lived at before, and we kind of fell in love with the place right off the bat.
Did you scare them?
Oh,
gosh.
Mac is 15.
What about you? Did people think you were a witch?
Farah is 10.
And what about you, little devil?
And Marissa is 6.
Financially, we were very stable. She was able to stay at home with the kids and not have to worry about work.
It was a quiet little town. Everyone knew everyone. It felt safe.
Inside, the 4-bedroom house feels spacious and open.
Look at this.
We've always been in smaller homes, and it was a good-sized house, and we would have plenty of room.
Everybody had their own bedroom, and there was lots of space for everyone to run around. And
who's got some candy for Dad, huh?
What is that?
But the house and property are not as ideal as they appear to be. Within these walls, bad things have happened. Spirits are not at rest. By March of 2009, the family has settled in. Scott's job as a corporate auditor often takes him away from home, leaving Alicia to tend to the kids and household duties.
At that time, my husband was staying out of town a lot.
all I wanted to do was be there with them, and all they wanted was for me to be there with them, and it was pretty difficult. Sometimes I spend 2 weeks at a time away from home and come home on the weekend and then go right back. It was really hard on all of us.
Six months after moving into the house, weird things started happening. I heard footsteps, and it sounded like bare feet hitting the wood floor. I just had this eerie feeling. I couldn't see anything, but something was there. All of a sudden, I heard footsteps. They were getting closer and closer. All of a sudden, it stopped.
Mac?
When I didn't see anything, it made me feel like maybe it was just me. I felt confused, frightened, crazy. My gut told me that something wasn't right in that house.
Alicia decides to keep the strange experiences to herself. When Scott returns home from his business trip, she feels safe once again. But one night, Alicia suddenly wakes up to intense heat. It feels as if the house is on fire.
I was really hot, I had to throw the covers off. It must have been 90 degrees in that house. I was burning up.
Scott, did you turn up the furnace? Scott.
At first, I thought maybe the children had turned the heat all the way up.
But the thermostat has not been touched.
So I went to go check the furnace. The furnace was turned all the way up. I knew it was weird that there was nothing to explain it, but I just kind of let it go.
One afternoon, Alicia hears something out of the ordinary.
What's your brother's name?
It sounds as if her daughter Marissa is having a conversation.
I have a brother too. His name is Mac.
I noticed that she was talking to somebody that wasn't there.
Who are you talking to, Marissa?
Jacob.
She was telling me that it was a little boy named Jacob and his brother named Stephen.
Him and his brother Stephen used to live here. Look, I drew a picture of them.
Why are they wearing masks?
Jacob said they got hurt real bad.
She told me that they wore sacks over their heads because they got burned in a fire and they didn't want to scare her. She said the house was right where our house is now. She said the little boys were upstairs in the loft playing. The dad was outside tending to the animals. The mom was cooking. The kitchen stove was a wood stove, and that's what caught fire.
Stephen, Jacob, where are you?
It all made sense now. The creaking, the footsteps, the furnace. I knew something was going on in that house.
Where are Jacob and Stephen now?
Right there.
I didn't know what to think, but when Marissa told me everything in detail, so much detail, I knew she couldn't be making it up. It frightened me.
In the fall of 2008, the Kane family, Alicia, Scott, and their 3 children, move into a house in Brookville, Ohio. At first, all is well, until a few months later when Alicia begins to suspect their home is haunted. Wherever she goes, Alicia feels as if something or someone is taunting her.
I heard footsteps and the furnace was turned all the way up. I felt uneasy about the house, what was going on, but I didn't know what to do about it.
But then, 6 months after moving in, the situation becomes disturbing when her 6-year-old daughter Marissa begins talking to imaginary friends she says died in a fire on the property.
When Marissa told me everything in detail, so much detail, I knew she couldn't be making it up. And I started feeling that the little boys haunted the house. My gut told me that something wasn't right. I just wanted answers.
Alicia has not said a word to her husband, Scott.
I decided not to tell Scott because he was out of town working a lot.
Instead, she takes matters into her own hands and does some research at the local historic society.
I was hoping to find answers of the owners, who lived there, who's died there, anything I could think of.
What Alicia discovers rattles her to her core. Factual evidence to back up her daughter's story.
I found out there was a home on the property in 1865 and that it had burned down, so that confirmed what Marissa had told me. In that moment, I knew something was going on in that house.
The records offer nothing more about the house or its inhabitants, but Alicia believes her daughter's new friends were burned alive on their land.
It made me feel very frightened. I wasn't scared of ghosts, but I was scared of the unknown.
That night, Alicia tells her husband about the records of the fire and Marissa's new friends.
I'm really worried about Marissa. What if they're not imaginary friends? I don't know, what if our house is haunted? I found this map in the Historical Society, Scott.
Honey, she's just using her imagination. It's normal behavior for a kid her age in a new place.
I kind of reassured her that kids have imaginary friends and it's kind of normal and there's nothing odd about it or strange. She's the youngest and the two older kids would kind of leave her out of stuff, so I just thought she was trying to make her own friend, you know, have someone to talk to because they were kind of older and kind of ignored her a lot of times, so I just thought she was trying to have a friend, imaginary friend.
I was a little upset that he didn't believe, but I wasn't scared of the little boys. I felt like they weren't there to hurt us, that they were just trying to let us know what happened to them.
It's an old house. When you turn the hot water on, the pipes knock and make noises underneath the house, and the doors all creak, and when the wind blows, you could hear it in the windows, and when cars drive by, it's kind of loud sometimes, and the lights will play tricks on you.
I just tried to not focus on the house being haunted and live normal.
Then, a few weeks later,
Mom, someone's in my room.
Scott, Marissa said somebody's in her room.
You could tell she was very upset.
Relax, sweetie. You're probably just having a nightmare.
Maybe she should sleep in here tonight.
Honey, it's fine. Come on, kiddo. Let's go check this out.
That made me feel uneasy, very uneasy. I didn't like it that my child was upset and scared.
Go ahead. Go on, jump up there. Now, I want you to understand there's nothing in here that can hurt you, okay?
Okay.
I think me trying to protect them, I was trying not to scare them, but I think it might have backfired a little bit because then they were saying, you know, Dad doesn't believe me or doesn't trust me.
I love you.
It's 2010. For months, Alicia Kane has been convinced that her house is haunted by the spirits of young boys who died in a fire on the property long ago. Her 6-year-old daughter carries on conversations with the ghosts who appear friendly.
What's your brother's name?
While her husband, Scott, refuses to believe.
Honey, she's just using her imagination.
One night, young Marissa is visited by a much more terrifying entity.
Mom, someone's in my room.
Honey, it's fine. Come on, kiddo. Let's go check this out. There's nothing in here that can hurt you.
All of a sudden, we heard this terrifying scream. She said she saw a woman in her room. She said the woman's dress was torn and she was bleeding. It was very real to her.
I had never seen her that scared before.
It's okay.
What happened?
Nothing.
Marissa's older siblings, Mac and Farah, are concerned about their sister.
I knew something was definitely strange going on.
But Scott still isn't ready to accept that his house is haunted.
Scott thought that because we were talking about the little boys, it stirred up Marissa's imagination.
Come on. She can stay in our room tonight.
I knew 100% that my house was haunted. I was starting to think that there was more to it, not just the little boy ghost.
Over the next few weeks, everyone in the family is on edge. Even Scott feels the tension.
I started noticing that the kids were a little more skittish in certain areas of the house, and the girls wanted to start sharing a room together. They didn't want to sleep alone. And so we moved Marissa out of her room into Farah's room. The whole kind of vibe of the house had started to change.
We were all walking on eggshells. We didn't know what to do. We were all very scared.
But with Scott working out of town much of the time, it's Alicia who must cope with what her husband still denies. That something sinister inhabits her home.
I wasn't sure what was going to happen next.
Marissa? Farah? Mac?
I was starting to think maybe something bad happened in that house.
Miranda, no!
Didn't you guys hear me calling?
Sorry.
As soon as I went upstairs, I seen him laughing and having a good time, and I was so relieved.
Where'd you get these?
I'm the chunk.
You want some like that?
I started paying more attention to the kids and keeping them more close to me.
They almost fit you.
Hey, Mom, come look at this.
All of a sudden, Mac handed me this bloody, ripped-up shirt that he had found. It had been placed in the eave of the attic.
Give me that. Kids, go downstairs.
But Mom.
Now.
Alicia believes the bloody shirt has a connection to the woman who scared Marissa in her room.
It was like someone was trying to hide it.
When are you coming home?
And Alicia would call me all stressed out, and then it would be like we'd fight over the phone, and then I'd want to just come home right away, but I couldn't because I had to stay for work. It was really, really hard.
Something is in this house.
Scott still didn't want to believe it. I was all alone, dealing with a stressful situation.
All right.
I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to. I felt alone, scared. I didn't know what to do. I decided to talk to my neighbors to see if they knew anything that had happened in that house.
Excuse me. Do you know if anything strange ever happened in my house?
I just can't believe you're living in that house. You know someone was murdered there, right?
Murdered? What do you mean?
We were all shocked.
My neighbor told me that the previous person that lived in that house had shot and killed his wife.
She was just real sweet. A beautiful girl. What a tragedy.
According to local newspapers, the murder took place in the early 1980s.
Where are you gonna go, Miranda? Where are you gonna go? You have nothing without me. You understand me?
The newspaper article said they had been in an argument.
Miranda, no!
And he shot her twice in the back. It confirmed what had been going on in the house, what Marissa had seen. It's when I realized that the house was really haunted. I was feeling every kind of emotion there is possible. I was scared, frustrated, angry, and now I was worried about my family. I felt completely powerless.
But the real terror for Alicia's family is just beginning. A few days later, Farah hears strange sounds coming from somewhere in the house.
Mom? 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 Mom?
For more haunting, visit DestinationAmerica.com. In Brookville, Ohio, Alicia Kane believes her new house is inhabited by the ghosts of two young boys who perished in a fire many years earlier.
After thinking about it, I realized that the boys weren't trying to hurt us.
But the haunting intensifies when Alicia learns a woman was murdered in her house.
Miranda, no!
Mom?
Now, the murdered woman's spirit begins targeting Farah, Alicia's oldest daughter.
Mom?
All of a sudden, I heard this terrifying scream. And Farah was crying and shaking. It was awful.
What happened? I saw her, Mom. I saw her.
She said she heard creaking come from the bathroom, and she saw a bloody woman. She was bloody all over. She had blood coming from her eyes. I tried to calm her down, but it was really hard. She was really freaking out. The way Farah described it, it seemed as if it was the same woman that Marissa had seen.
Alicia is devastated.
It all made sense now, the clothes that Mac found, and what Marissa saw. I was absolutely terrified. It was now targeting my kids, and I didn't know what to do.
Alicia feels betrayed because no one told her a murder took place in her home.
I was scared, frustrated, angry that no one told us what happened in the home, and now I was worried about my family. I went to go get the clothes that Mac had found. I threw them in the fire, and I thought it would get rid of everything that's happened. I just wanted it to all go away.
Alicia? What's wrong?
Did you know a woman was murdered in our house?
I didn't really want to believe it still. I was still kind of in denial about it. But when Alicia had told me that the previous owner had murdered his wife in the house, it kind of made everything fall into place.
That's who Marissa saw in her bedroom that night. And Vera saw her in the bathroom this afternoon. And she was covered in blood.
Everything that the kids had experienced, everything that Alicia had experienced, it all made sense. And it kind of floored me.
I found this in the newspaper.
It was, it was staring us right in the face.
I'm so sorry. I didn't believe you.
The evidence overwhelms Scott. He finally believes the house is haunted and accepts the idea that his family needs help.
I knew that she was pretty much at her wit's end, and we needed to find somebody to help us. She was gonna fall apart, the kids were gonna fall apart, everything was just gonna go south from there if we didn't get any help.
We knew that we had to find somebody to help us. We couldn't do it on our own. A mutual friend helped us find the Foremans from Living Dead Paranormal.
Soon after, the team of 3 brothers, Josh, Sean, and Rocky Foreman, arrive at the house. The Kane children spend the night with a friend to ensure their safety.
On this particular case, we started up on the 2nd floor because it was one of the areas when we were doing the walkthrough, you got the heaviness on your chest, and it was also the area that the family was having most of their experiences.
Was that open a minute ago?
I don't think so.
Let's go check out the attic.
Okay.
As soon as I open the attic door, you hear a female voice, just plain as day. It was real drawn out. She goes, "No." It was like she was standing right there with us. At that point, part of you says, get the hell out of the house.
But Josh feels a sense of responsibility to the family. Overcoming his fear, he and Rocky proceed with the investigation.
What was that?
I don't know. Something's in here.
He immediately got a sad feeling, and he had asked if I was feeling the same thing he was feeling, because a lot of times, when you're in the middle of an investigation, you'll get different emotions, from sadness or fear, and just going up the attic, you got that heavy feeling. It was just like an overwhelming sadness.
Are you here with us now? What do you want? What do you want from us?
For the past 2 years, the Kane family has been terrorized by the ghost of a woman who was murdered in their Brookville, Ohio home. The Kanes knew nothing about the killing before they moved in. Their daughter's terrifying encounter with the murdered woman's spirit forces Alicia and Scott to seek help from paranormal expert Josh Foreman and his brothers.
Honestly, I really didn't know if it was gonna work or not. I didn't know what to think about the whole thing.
While investigating in the attic, Josh and Rocky make contact with the murdered woman.
Are you here with us now? What do you want? What do you want from us?
We heard a female voice, plain as day again, like she was standing right there with us, said, "Shoot the Foremans."
When you actually get an EVP, knowing that it's your last name is really uneasy.
We've investigated a lot of homes, and we've never ran into anything that was this aggressive. It was definitely eerie to get something that clear. It really validated for us that, whatever was in this house is linked to the murder. We need to pick it up a notch and do whatever we could do to help this family.
Josh breaks the news to Alicia and Scott. This ghost is upset and hell-bent on disrupting their family.
I believe the woman who was murdered in this house is still here.
This was the home that she was supposed to start her family and raise her kids. And then in a very tragic and sudden way, all those dreams were ripped away from her.
The Foremans told us it would only get worse from there.
I tried to debunk things that happened that I couldn't explain or had no excuse for it, but everything that was happening was real.
Josh provides a solution.
We'd like to bring someone in to perform a cleansing.
We were at our wits' ends on it, so we didn't know what to do. I was terrified. I was hopeful that the cleansing would help.
Father Alan Dersham arrives at the Kane house prepared to confront an angry, restless spirit. He's a special kind of priest with many tools at his disposal. He's what's called an eclectic priest.
I follow many different religions to combat the spiritual world. As soon as I got to the property, I felt an immediate, strong, dark presence. I know it didn't want me there.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Something was very hostile. It was almost like it was wanting me to get back in my car and leave.
While the family waits in another section of the house, Alan uses rites and rituals from 5 different religions to cast out the restless spirits.
When I set up a cleansing, I picked the centermost room of the house and I burn a black candle that will absorb every negative energy into the house.
It was strange to have this man with all this weird stuff that we've never had in our home before, but we were willing to try anything.
Saint Michael, the Archangel, defend us in battle. Safeguard us against the wickedness and the snares of the devil.
I could sense spirits of children there, as well as a darker spirit. The children's spirits seemed to be more welcoming and just curious. They seemed to be stuck in the home. The dark entity was on the upper levels of the house, towards the attic and the second floor. The darker spirit in the home was very angry, and you could tell it definitely didn't want me there. I'm at battle with the spiritual realm for this family.
By the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about this world, seeking the ruin of souls.
My goal is to get rid of it. Nothing's going to steer me from that goal.
Amen.
I felt very strongly that I had eliminated a presence within the home.
For 1 week, life in the house returns to normal. All paranormal activity stops. Alicia and Scott are relieved, hopeful the cleansing has worked.
It felt as if this big cloud had lifted off of our family.
I was happy. The kids were happy. Everything was pretty much back to the way it was before.
It felt like at the beginning when we first moved into the house.
But the haunting is far from over.
I started feeling this burning on my leg. I was very terrified. All of a sudden, I looked down and saw blood on the bathroom floor. I followed the trail down the hall.
For more than 2 years, the Kane family has been terrified by the bloody spirit of an angry woman murdered in their Brookville, Ohio home. After bringing in professional help and getting the house cleansed, the family believes their nightmare is over.
Cast into hell all the evil spirits. Amen.
But it's not. It's back with a vengeance.
I saw her laying in a puddle of blood and I thought she was dead.
Marissa? Marissa? Marissa?
She woke up and she didn't know what had happened. It looked like she had had a nosebleed, but it wasn't a normal nosebleed.
What happened?
This was my baby, and it terrified me.
Alicia rushes Marissa to the doctor, who explains it's just a bad nosebleed. Alicia believes it's something more sinister.
It was too much blood. Realizing that ghosts could touch you or harm you was absolutely terrifying. I tried to protect my kids, but how can I protect my kids when I can't even protect myself? I felt like it was only going to get worse.
This is the last straw for the Kane family.
To feel safer, we all decided to start sleeping in the living room so we could all be closer together. We felt we could keep a better eye on the kids.
There was so much stuff happening that we couldn't even keep up with it. It was just too much.
The family decides to move out as soon as possible, but for financial reasons, they have no idea when that will be.
We are currently trying to get out of the house. It has been a burden on all of us to not be able to just leave the house. We're financially stuck, but we are saving to get out as quickly as possible.
Me and Alicia decided that was it. We weren't going to take all the stuff anymore. We weren't going to go through everything again. We're trying to ignore all the other stuff that goes on and just concentrate on getting out of there. I had to go and have that talk with my kids again, you know, that we got to be strong.
Dad, what if the ghost comes in here?
Paranormal investigator Josh Foreman plans a formal exorcism of the house once the Kane family moves. He hopes to make it safe for future inhabitants.
Personally, for me, I was devastated to hear that the activity came back because we had tried everything that we knew from the different experiences we've had over the last 10 years of investigating the paranormal.
But there is a chance that whatever they do, the spirits may never be driven from the property.
It needs to be something more in your face that's really gonna push this thing. It's really time for us to think outside the box. My only hope is whatever this is doesn't follow them, and you know, they can be at peace finally.
One thing is certain, the Kane family will be forever haunted by the experience.
I was definitely a skeptic. I didn't really believe in paranormal. No, I really don't know what to tell people. I wouldn't wish anybody to go through anything like that. It's horrible. It's not fun and games. It's really rough.
It's not what I was intending for my children at all. It hurts a lot. It feels like I'm not protecting my family the way I should. I hope and I pray that my kids can get over this. I feel very lucky we have survived.
After a family suffers a horrific tragedy,
I wish Daddy were here.
Me too.
they seek refuge.
After losing their father, I had to do something for my children.
But their new home harbors secrets.
What is that?
Dark secrets.
This is like a satanic thing or part of the occult.
The spirits will not rest
Someone was trying to open the door to get to me. I was in danger.
until they are chased back into hell.
Return from whence you came!
This ain't Casper the Friendly Ghost. These are monsters.
In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see
Someone's in my room.
and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality. Not far from the hustle and bustle of the Big Apple are the rustic suburbs of a quaint beach town.
St. James is on the eastern end of Long Island. It's more rural there. That's where you'll find most of your farms and your vineyards. It's very family-oriented.
It's a place where people go to escape. In 2006, Jeanette Myron introduces her two daughters, Angela and Deneen, to the house she's just purchased.
So, girls, what do you think?
We're going to live here?
The house was really old. Everything was run down, but it was a huge piece of property that was covered in woods. So that's what attracted me to it.
You won't even recognize it by the time we move in. What do you think, Deneen?
Jeanette's younger daughter is not so sure.
I took a ride out there with my mom and my sister. When we first arrived at the house, it honestly looked really old. It looked very creepy.
Mom, you told us that we would love it out here, but we're literally in the middle of nowhere. But the Wi-Fi out here sucks.
Let's just try to think positive, okay? I think that a change of scenery will do us all a lot of good.
I wish Daddy were here.
Me too, sweetie. Me too.
A year earlier, Jeanette's husband, the girl's father, Curtis Myron, tragically died in the line of duty.
Kurt was a lieutenant for the New York City Fire Department. There was a 4-story Bronx tenement, and the electric had shorted in one of the apartments. The flames had come through the floor on the 4th floor where they were, and the only way out was windows.
On that day, Curtis was forced to jump 50 feet to his death.
When he passed away, especially how he did, it was very hard for everyone. The reality hit me that I don't have a dad anymore. It was like my world had come crashing down.
With the move, Jeanette is hoping to escape painful memories and start anew.
After losing their father, I had to do something for these children. I had to show them that there is some sort of hope and, that life can go on.
It's hard to be positive when there's something to be positive about, Mom.
Let's just think of it this way. It's a great new adventure for all of us.
One night, Jeanette stays late fixing up Denine's room.
I started to work my way to try to transition these kids to their new home. It was definitely going to be a fresh start for them.
So, Kurt, this is it. I've made a new life for the girls. And we're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. I miss you so much. The girls miss you. We're hanging in there, but I wish you were here.
I heard voices, almost like a chanting.
Hello?
For a moment there, I thought maybe someone's working here. But there was nothing. I knew I was alone.
Jeanette checks the new security cameras she's had installed outside the house.
Installing the cameras was my idea. I was very nervous of a vandalism, possibly, or whatever could be.
Over the next few weeks, Jeanette asks her husband's friend Mike to help get the house move-in ready.
So, I was thinking, I don't know, this might be a cool hangout place for the girls.
Really? Seems a little, dusty.
The basement was filthy. It was covered with years of dirt. I mean, covered. The cement dirt and dust and just all kinds of filth.
Only question, you think we could take down that wall, open this place up?
Doesn't seem like a load-bearing wall. Maybe a simple reno.
I was hoping you'd say that.
And he was busting up part of this wall. He just saw like these shreds of like paper.
What is that?
It was maybe a 5x7 book, and it was bound with a string.
It's a diary.
The penmanship was like the old plume pen, that kind of ink that you would dip. It wasn't like, you know, a ballpoint.
1927. Wow. Oh my God.
The diary documents the life of a young girl living in fear.
This poor girl.
My heart broke for this little girl. She doesn't seem any older than my own two. And what she must have had to endure. There was no other way to look at it. This child was abused.
The diary also details cruelty being done to animals.
I assumed at that point that they were some kind of sacrifice or they were tortured in some sort of way.
She must have been so scared.
Are you okay?
Not really. All I know is I do not want the girls to see this. Maybe I better call it a day.
Sounds good to me. I'll get this place cleaned up. What are you gonna do about the book?
I wrapped it up in a cheesecloth and I put it in a paper bag and I burned it.
Holy crap. Jeanette? You'd better come down here, Jeanette.
After seeking a fresh start for her daughters who lost their father, Jeanette Myron uncovers a disturbing journal and an inverted pentagram in her new basement.
It was this huge circle with some kind of star in it. It was really the size of a room. It was tremendous.
I do not want the girls to know that we found this.
Something went on here. This is like a satanic thing or part of the occult. It was a symbol of some sort of evil.
When we are through, nobody is gonna know it is here.
Burning the journal and painting over the pentagram, it was a clean slate.
With the renovations now complete, Jeanette and her two daughters, Angela and Deneen, settle comfortably into their new home.
I just kind of was looking forward to moving because I could forget everything. Life before my dad passed away was very peaceful. After my dad died, it was never just normal.
But as much as Deneen tries to forget the past, her dad's spirit has never left her.
Oh, I like the house just fine, I guess. I really like my new room.
When we first moved in the house, I saw my dad around a lot. I would have conversations with him, and it was very comforting to me.
But Angela hates it here. Daddy.
My mom brushed it off like that's my imagination, and I'm just coping somehow.
Angela would be so mad if we did that. Hey, give that back!
Come and get it.
The Myrons' property is surrounded by acres of thick forest.
find you.
It was like somebody took a knife and carved it into the tree, and it was deep.
That's a weird looking star.
Look, there's one on that tree. And on that one too.
When we first found the stars, I was mostly curious.
They're all around us.
Who would put a star in a tree? What were they doing here?
Let's get out of here. This place is freaking me out. Come on.
It's as if something evil happened in those woods long ago.
The sound of chanting woke me up in the middle of the night. It was like in a weird language, so I had no idea what they were saying. It sounded like it was coming from, like, outside my door, inside my room, all over. I heard footsteps, like man boots on the floor, and they're very distinct. Then the banging started.
Something terrifying is happening at the Myron family's new home.
Someone was trying to open the door to get to me. I felt like I was in danger.
Daddy, help me. Make it go away.
Denine's mother, who bought the house as a place to start over after her husband died, dismisses her daughter's fears.
I said, you know, this is a new house. There's a lot of strange sounds we're not used to. We just have to get accustomed to the sounds of the house.
One afternoon, Denine's sister Angela is at the house alone.
Angela was homesick. Denise was in school. I was running errands.
Mom? Is that you? Are you okay? Mom? Who's there?
What in the world?
When I walked in, every cabinet door was wide open. Silverware everywhere, broken dishes, broken glasses. I mean, it looked like a war zone in there.
Angela. What were you thinking?
Jeanette fears her daughter may be at fault.
I had a lot of issues with her, with anger and hurt when the father passed away. So I really thought that something had happened that may have triggered that. But I really thought it was one of her tantrums.
Angela? Angela! Angela, answer me. Where are you? Angela. What happened?
I found her curled up in a ball in a corner and almost like in a fetal position.
It wasn't me. I swear. I didn't do it. You have to believe me.
Then who? Who did this?
I can't even explain it. I was hearing all these noises coming from the kitchen, but everything looked normal.
Angela said, all of a sudden, every door opened up at the same time. There was like a whoosh, and everything went flying, and I just ran up here. Kid was petrified.
I had no idea what to do. I was so scared. You believe me, Mom, right?
Over the next few days, Jeanette can't shake the idea that her house may be haunted.
Something is not right here. And I don't know what, but I was trying to rationalize because that's what you do. Things are rattling and jumping. Now I hear this thumping. It got that loud, it was like boom.
The noise sounds like it's coming from the basement.
I just had a terrible feeling. I just felt unsafe. I just felt something wasn't right. I felt something evil.
Ever since Jeanette Myron and her daughters moved into their new home in St. James, New York, they have experienced unsettling events inside and outside the house.
I got a really bad feeling in my stomach. Then I knew that it wasn't fine.
Jeanette originally bought the house as a safe haven, a place for her daughters to start over after their father, a firefighter, tragically died. But after finding a disturbing diary written by a young girl and an inverted pentagram in her basement, she wonders if something happened on the property long ago.
It was very unnerving to me to think that something terrible happened on that property. Not knowing about the occult, not knowing about the paranormal, I just felt that once you're exposed to or even see something like that in your own life, things are gonna take a bad turn. I really felt I made a mistake. I tell you, if I could have gave it all up and walked out of there, I would have done so. But now I'm in it. I mean, I invested everything that we had.
Unsure of what to do, Jeanette asks her husband's friend Tony for help.
Jeanette was really concerned there was something in the basement. I'm looking around with the flashlight. I didn't see anything. And out of nowhere, this door started to rattle. As I got closer to it, the door started rattling more. It slammed shut. And when I opened the door, there was nobody there. It was pretty scary.
He came upstairs and he goes, all I know is something ain't right. Just don't go downstairs.
With nowhere to turn, Jeanette tries to maintain a sense of normalcy for her daughters.
got this very weird feeling. I just felt very uneasy, like someone was watching me, but I ignored it.
Janine, can I come in? Janine, are you all right?
I see like a shadow, and I can't make it out. It just looks like a man.
Janine!
I know he's not human, and I know he's evil.
Janine! Janine! Janine!
For months, haunting events have been terrorizing the Myron family.
Janine, can I come in? Janine!
I'll never forget seeing it. His eyes were black and soulless. I was terrified.
Janine, are you okay? Janine! Janine! Janine!
I hear this horrible scream coming from the bathroom upstairs.
I'm scared. Janine? Janine! Door is locked! Janine, you have got to unlock this door! Janine, please!
We could not get in that door.
Janine!
The door was jammed.
Please! Answer me!
And then finally, it just like nothing, it just released.
Janine, sweetie. Janine, come here. Mommy's here.
I wouldn't talk. I just couldn't talk.
It's okay. Mommy's here.
I was trying to get words out. All that was coming out was like little whimpers.
I'm not gonna let anything happen to you.
It was like a wild animal had bitten her. I don't know what's happening here. Something is after my children.
If it can do that to me, it can do that to my mom and my sister. I was very, very scared. This ain't Casper the Friendly Ghost. These are monsters.
Please, Mom. I don't want to live here anymore. There's something evil here.
Don't worry. I'm gonna get us out of this. I promise.
That was the most horrifying experience. What is this that I'm dealing with? And now it's after my children. I was like, that's it. I packed the girls up that night and I brought them to my mom's house.
But Jeanette is determined to fight back.
Damn you. I am not gonna let you do this to me. Or my kids. Do you hear me?
I was livid. I mean, I was upset. I'm not gonna take any more heartache for these kids. I fought too long, too hard for them to have a life, and they deserve it. And I don't know who you are, but you need to get the hell out, damn it. Go back where you came from. You're not welcome here, and I will get the help that I need. I mean, I was ready to do battle.
She returns to the house armed with a paranormal expert with psychic abilities.
I was hoping that she could finally label exactly what it was and tell it, move on, go to the light, leave.
Can you tell me what is happening in my house?
Your husband's here.
What? That can't be why this is happening. You wouldn't try and scare us like that.
No, he's worried about you and the girls.
She said, your husband is trying to protect you.
Why?
The basement.
For more haunting, visit tlc.com. After a psychic finds evidence that Jeanette Myron's home is infested with demons, she puts her in touch with Bill Bean, a deliverance minister.
I could feel the overwhelming presence of evil. It was a very dangerous situation for the family to be living in. Due to the past activity that had taken place on the property in the home, there's no question in my mind that it opened a portal. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that these demonic entities were present.
Bill gets to work.
Father, protect us. For your glory, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
First, he must send the demons back into the portal, and then seal the doorway shut.
I'm ready to begin. By the mighty power of Yahweh, in Jesus' name I bind and rebuke any demonic forces present, and I command you to return from whence you came. By the mighty power of Yahweh, in Jesus' name, I bind and rebuke all demonic spirits who are present here, and I command you to return from whence you came.
It was violent, where it really felt like the house was going to come off the foundation. It was shaken to its core.
By the almighty power of Yahweh, in Jesus' name, I bind and rebuke all demonic spirits who are present in this place, and I command you to return from whence you came.
God's power works through me in engaging in spiritual warfare against these demonic forces. Therefore, if God is with me and for me, what have I to fear? Nothing.
By the mighty power of Yahweh, in Jesus' name, I bind and rebuke all demonic spirits in this place, and I command you to return from whence you came. By the mighty power of Yahweh, in Jesus' name, I declare this portal closed, sealed, locked, chained forevermore. In Jesus' name. Amen. It's over.
Everything was brighter. It felt, for the first time, it felt like home. It was a great feeling.
You and your family, you're safe now.
With the house now cleared of the demonic entities and the portal closed, Jeanette and her daughters are able to move on with their lives.
They really turned to beautiful young ladies with good heads on their shoulder and good hearts, more importantly. They have blossomed. Their dad would be proud.
Still, the memories of the haunting are never far from their minds. To this day, Angela finds it difficult to discuss.
The girls showed me the symbols in the woods, and they were exactly like what was in the basement. That was top priority, get rid of them. We cut down a lot of trees. The first trees to go were the ones that had that carving in it. This is my place. It's not your place. Whatever your history was is done, it's over, and goodbye.
It hasn't been easy for my mom. I admire her more now than I ever did before. She's the one that inspires us to be strong.
Girls, lunchtime.
Okay, Mom. Gracia.
It made me so happy to see her smile after dealing with this. That was just everything for me. In the initial weeks, like after I felt my dad when I went outside, I just felt like he was there, and it gave me comfort because I felt he's at peace too.